Welcome to Fwamp Fwamp Sports. My name is Richard Harris, and we are live. Welcome to Fwamp Fwamp Sports. My name is Richard Harris. It's been a few months since I've last blogged. I have taken the time to look at the world of sports from so many different angles, to appreciate different sports, to appreciate the stars of the sports today, and say goodbye to some of them who aren't here no more, as we lost the greatest. And it's apropos to say it that way because what this blog is about is simply about one man who has fallen so far from grace that he is now a caricature instead of a person. And I'm of course referring to one Alex Rodriguez. The Yankees, instead of eating $27 million, instead of basically releasing him, the Yankees have decided that Arod should retire Friday and then next year become an advisor for the team for $27 million. What should have been a storybook, what should have been a career for the ages, has turned into an absolute travesty, embarrassment, ridicule of a man who essentially really has, it reminds me of Michael Jackson. In the respect that people used to say Michael Jackson didn't have a childhood, Michael Jackson used to do a lot of strange things, Michael Jackson used to say a lot of strange things, and a lot of people didn't like Michael Jackson because he was odd. Arod is odd. No one in the media respects this man. This guy should have been a Mariner for 20 years, period. Yes, they already had that guy in Griffey who ended up leaving too, and they potentially could have had that guy in Randy Johnson, and maybe Edgar Martinez was that guy. But Arod should have followed Edgar Martinez's footsteps and been a Mariner for 20 years. He would have had a Hall of Fame career, which he had anyway, but it would have been legitimate. He would not have been trying to chase ghosts because he would have just been the guy that everybody else was trying to chase. And it's so sad. Griffey should have never left Seattle because look what happened to him. He went to the National League and all he did was get hurt and then he go to the White Sox, and that was sad. Randy Johnson left. Randy Johnson is the only Mariner to leave and flourish other places. But that team should have been a dynasty. And yes, they ended up getting Ichiro. They ended up getting some players that are like King Felix, who will be a Mariner to the day he dies. But it's so sad that Arod should have been on that team with him for the last few years and have been appreciated, have aged well in baseball, and be cherished. Because it's so sad that David Ortiz is retiring as well, and David Ortiz failed a steroid test apparently in 2003, but David Ortiz is so well loved, so being honored by every team in baseball because he and Manny single-handedly put the Red Sox back on the map. And it's so sad. Alex Rodriguez should have been appreciated. He should have had a Jeter send-off. He should have had a Mariano Rivera send-off because he was just one of those guys. And it's a shame that now he'll quietly just fade out into the night because he has done so many things wrong. And what's even funnier is that Now they're writing articles in magazines everywhere saying, you better not try that, you know, retire crap and then come back and play again, that old Brett Favre thing, because nobody wants you around. And it's so funny because every teammate this man has ever had, I don't think I've ever heard any of his teammates say anything bad about him. Nobody criticizes A-Rod who plays with him. They know he works hard. They know that he puts in the time. It's just some things that he does that just has irritated people over the years. He should have been a Met because that's the team he grew up idolizing. He could have been battling Jeter for the headlines in New York City the way that he kind of wanted to. But then he's asking for crazy things, private jets and rooms and, stuff that just was crazy. And it just cost him so much respect. And then he lied about steroids. Then he admitted it, and then he lied again. And then he wants to sue everybody. I feel so badly for this guy because he is just misunderstood. He's a genius who's just simply misunderstood. And it's a shame that his career is just fizzing out into the night. And listening to the pundits rip him. The lead story today was Steinbrenner wants to possibly consider putting A-Rod in the monuments because of what he's done for the Yankees and the community, and he has a championship with the Yankees. And the anger that brought out in people, that he's not a true Yankee. Listening to Curt Schilling say he's not all these people over the years rip A-Rod that he's not a true Yankee and this, that, and the other thing. Who cares? Listen to the Red Sox fans tonight taunting him, wanting him to come play tonight's game, and the Yankees just keep him on the bench because the Yankees gave up. Yankees never give up, but they gave up this season. I mean, the Yankees, 1978 were down 14 games to the Red Sox. Caught them, forced the playoff, beat them, and went on to win the World Series. But they threw in the towel this year. I'm speechless because people keep trying to compare him to Barry Bonds. And the difference between Barry Bonds and A-Rod, other than there's 1,000 differences, is San Francisco Giant fans defend Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds fans defend Barry Bonds. A-Rod ain't got no fans. A-Rod doesn't have anybody defending him on any medium. And people often give me grief because I'm always harsh about the Hall of Fame in sports and stuff like that. You see the difference between Barry Bonds and A-Rod in that regard, in that teams had to walk Barry Bonds or he would have hit 110 home runs. As great a player as A-Rod was, teams still felt they could pitch to him. No team felt they could pitch to Barry Bonds. They walked the bases loaded. They walked in runs when he came up with the bases loaded. And then even to make him more of a mythic figure, my favorite Barry Bonds moment was the week after his dad died on that Sunday afternoon in San Francisco. He had no batting practice. He swung a few times at the cage, I think they said. And they said, we need a pinch hit. And he came to pinch hit. And they pitched to him and he had a game-winning home run. And it was so dramatic that all of the people on Baseball Tonight, all the people who covered baseball, there's nothing you could say bad about him after that. You couldn't say steroids. You couldn't say anything. You could just sit there and just marvel at a great player. And I hate the fact that people compare him to A-Rod because they're not the same villains. Barry Bonds is a villain and he didn't care. A-Rod was a villain, but A-Rod was trying to be your friend at the same time. And that's sad. Bonds didn't care if he had no friends in baseball. But he knew what he had. He had his fan base. He had his teammates. And they knew he wasn't a joke. They knew he showed up to play every day. They knew he wasn't getting any at bats. They were going to walk him 230 times a year. And he just came to play. And you had to walk him, because if you didn't, he would have hit 110 home runs. Arod, on the other hand, as great a talent as he was, he still had holes in his game. But I'm not here to bash him. He's been bashed enough. So hopefully Alex will go into retirement, find happiness, find some business opportunities, and live life to the fullest. But he's been clowned, folks, and that is sad. But I'm just one man, and I got my own opinion. I'm Richard Harris. Good luck, Alex.